Why are rich people better at buying things than poor people? That's the question. Why do rich people make better purchases and get more for their dollar than poor people? On the surface, you would think poor people are more cost conscientious, and that because of this conscientiousness, they're going to save more. They're going to clip coupons. They're going to do that. But the truth is, rich people actually do get more for their dollar than poor people. And I'll get to it in just a second. But this is part of the reason that holds people back and keeps some people stuck. And then other people understand how to make better purchases, which leads to them actually gaining more value, furthering their wealth. See, it's really either a virtuous or a vicious cycle, but it's one of the two. And the question comes down to, what are your parameters for making that purchase in the first place? What are you going after? Like, what is the thing that you're purchasing? And this seems simple on the surface, but it's really not, because this really delves into an underlying psychological difference. And I believe psychology is 80% success, 20% mechanics. And so when you start looking at this, it starts to make sense why some people make better decisions and other people make less good decisions, right? And I even hesitate to say that because who knows what's the right or wrong decision. But truthfully, some people get more out of their decisions to purchase something than another person. And this goes deep, but the fundamental difference between the two is that wealthy people, they buy based off of value. Their purchases aren't always driven off of cost. They may buy into a $50,000 or $100,000 mastermind, but the value that they get from that mastermind, they recoup because they're smart about their decision. They're going to join one where they know that they can make one business connection, get one idea and apply it to their business, and they can 10x it. They can take that $50,000 mastermind and make $500,000 from it. Whereas poor people, on the other hand, what they do is they make cost-based decisions. And it's a slight difference, but it's a huge difference. And it is all the difference. Value-based versus cost-based. And poor people, because they're watching their money, they're not thinking, how do I invest this? How do I recoup my investment? How do I make this work for me? They're thinking, here's the cost. This is $10 or it's $100 or it's $1,000 or $10,000. And they're thinking, well, how can I get it for less? Whereas wealthy people think, how much can I get out of this purchase? So poor people typically buy things. They prefer things. They prefer physical products. They prefer things they can touch, they can hold, they can show people. While wealthy people inherently usually tend towards investments. And that can be courses, that can be masterminds, that can be digital products that are investments in themselves that allow them to actually go to that next level. Because they know if they're not doing that, their competitor is. And if they're not doing it, your average Joe is spending his money on stuff that he gets no return on that value, no return on investment. And wealthy people are thinking about ROI, because it's not really a purchase if you get ROI on it, is it? Like, let's say that I had something to sell you that was $100,000 and you're like, there's no way I can afford that. But let's say it had $1 million worth of value. Like, let's say that I had a car outside that was $100,000 and I would be willing to sell you that car for $100,000. But you knew that it was a collector and you could go turn that around and you could just arbitrage and you could recoup $1 million on it. Now, is it a $100,000 purchase? Yes, it is. But is it an investment or is it an expense? And how you look at that determines the return that you get on compounded investments over time. And that's the difference. So you have poor people. Let's just say they make 500 purchases in a year and they get no ROI on those purchases. And we're talking outside of basic necessities. We're talking discretionary income. And you've got a wealthy person who instead may only make 5, 10, or 50 big purchases. But the difference there, the critical difference, is that they're thinking about ROI on the money they spend. And that ROI on year one, maybe it's a little bit, but they make another investment in year 2, and they make another investment in year 3, and they make another investment in year 4. And by the time they've got 10 years down the road, the difference between where they're at, their capabilities, their skill sets, their mindset, their character is fundamentally different than your poor person over here who is only focused on buying things that satisfy their current desires with no respect to the future and no respect to getting better. And that's the difference. That's compound interest of purchases, and purchases specifically based off of value, not off of cost or price. So what I'm going to ask you now is, what's your buying behavior like? Are you spending money on things that you get an ROI on? Are you spending money on things that bring you closer to who you want to be, where you want to be, the things that you want to have, the life that you want to live? Or are you spending money on things that make your life a little bit better right now, but truthfully, a year from now, 2 years from now, they're not going to make a difference? That's the big question. If you look at so many people in the online space, in the business space, the people that are 10 years down the road, it wasn't an overnight thing. People look at it and they think, man, this seemed like it was overnight. This person just came out of nowhere. But what people don't see is all the courses they bought, all the masterminds, all the late nights talking with those people, developing those relationships, developing those skill sets, developing the character. They don't see that, sure, this person bought whatever, but not just to have, but because it was an investment. And it was irrespective of price. Price doesn't matter. Value is the only thing that matters. Like I said, if I gave you a $100,000 offer to buy a collectible car, it's not about it being $100,000. It's about the fact that it has a value to somebody else out there of $1 million. So there's this great experiment. I forget the guy's name, but he traded a single red paperclip all the way up to a house. And he did that based off of simple arbitrage in the fact that people have different desires. He traded it to one person for a pen, another person for something else, another person for a generator. And he rode that momentum up because inherently, some people want one thing more than they want another. And the value of the thing that one person has may, in fact, have a more monetary value, but they want what you have more. And so that's just a simple way to think about it. When you're thinking about purchasing, when you're thinking about what are you going to go do with your life, where are you going to be in 5 or 10 years from now? I guarantee you, unless you already have the wealth to go spend money frivolously, then you've got that allocated discretionary income, and that can either go towards investments or it can go towards things you want right now. But there's no two ways around it. If you're going to spend all the discretionary income, then that is the difference. And that's why fundamentally, I think wealthy people make better purchasing decisions because it's not based on price. They say, yeah, okay, this mastermind is $50,000. They don't say, I can't afford it. They say, how can I afford it? How can I make this worth it? How can I get my investment back? and then they pay the money. And then because they paid the money, they find a way to get their investment back and oftentimes 10x their investment. So guys, I hope this helps. I hope it's a great heuristic and way you think about it for things that you're going to purchase, because it makes all the difference. Whether you're investing in yourself with time, with money, wherever you're putting your energy. Just remember, money is just another form of energy. So wherever you're putting your energy, that's going to come back to you. And some energy likes to procreate, and other energy just dissipates and disappears, just transforms. So this is a helpful way that I think about making purchases. I hope it helps you in your purchases when you think about what it is you're going after and where you want to be. Hope this helps, guys. Be great.